believe it or not, my wife just sent me a link. You ever heard of a Chinese place called Shen?
I think his shirt is from there.
Okay.
I'm wearing a shirt from Shein right now.
Yeah, awesome.
Y'all think I'm bougie, but I'm wearing an $8 shirt right now.
That's awesome, bro.
All right, guys, we're back for another episode of the Fully Funded podcast where we discuss everything on health, finance, lifestyle, and life hacks to get you right. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan Plaza, and our amazing guest today, Curtis Lewsey. We're so excited to have you here today, man.
Awesome, guys. Well, let's jump back in, man. I'm 11 days fresh off of a trip. I'm a little tired, honestly, Curtis Lewsey. If it wasn't for you, I would have canceled today. I'm going to be very honest with you. But I'm excited to be back, the Fully Funded podcast. Like I like to call it, the Fully Loaded.
Wait, so you weren't going to show up today?
Oh, if I'll be, I'm honest.
Yeah.
If Curtis Lewsey was not on the bill today, Ryan Plaza was having a stomach virus because he just came back.
Yo,
from
man,
Mexico.
I don't feel good.
From Mexico.
You would have skipped the potluck and everything?
I would have skipped the potluck,
Come
man. I'll have spaghettis tomorrow. But, guys, it's not about us right now. It's about Curtis Lewsey, somebody very special to me. I have tons of stories with Curtis Lewsey and the things that he's taught me. So I'm excited for the things that he's going to teach our community today. So, Curtis, with no further ado, man, how you feeling? Introduce yourself.
Man, I'm doing awesome. Thank you. It's awesome just walking in these doors. I mean, we spent a lot of time together in this exact office, 4 years ago, 5 years ago now?
So let's talk about that real quick. I wasn't going to get, but this used to be an LPT office where me and you actually worked together, and then it's cool to see your journey from our LPT days to where you are now with AM Cards. So let's talk about that. What is AM Cards? Who's Curtis Lewsey? And let's dive in for the people that don't know.
So AM Cards, AM stands for Appreciation Marketing, based off of a book that I wrote over a decade ago now. All common sense stuff, just not common practice. One of the biggest competitive advantages in business and in life is saying thank you, being appreciative. And so we wrote a book about it and spoke on stages around the world. And then years after I wrote the book, I launched a service called AM Cards. It's a hands-free, automated, set it and forget it type of system to be able to have real greeting cards, printed stuff, stamped, mailed out. So that's what AM Cards is. And we work with all different types of businesses for follow-up and for staying in touch. And
How many cars do you have go out for this week? So it's Thanksgiving week, right?
Tens
now
of
we're recording
thousands.
this. It's wild, right?
Yeah,
let me just break it down for the people that don't understand AM Cards or what he's saying. So, and it's incredible because I know you, right? So I know the owner of the company, and I've seen 1,000 cards, but whenever a card comes to my door, I'm still excited. Like it's the first time it ever happened, right? Like you open up a card, you see your picture, and we're all have a little ego and pride, right? Like, oh man, look, it's me. And then you open this thing up and it's handwritten, and then you open up the box, there's brownies or something.
I was just about to say about the brownies.
Well, listen,
you gotta have the brownies.
So what it is that you can send a customizable card that you type up, but it looks handwritten. You can send out a gift. And it just shows that appreciation. And me, I'm a marketing guy, so it keeps you top of mind marketing. But what I want to dive in right away, Curtis, with you is, I just came from Mexico, and I wasn't in Cancun, right? I wasn't in Tulum. I was in a little area. And, even on my way to work, I just felt this sense of appreciation, right? I felt this sense of gratitude of, how far I've come and the things that I seen out there that I have here. So where did this concept for you even come? Because like you said, it's very common, right?
Yeah.
Like you talk about very basic things, but not a lot of people do these things.
Very true. So take you back, my first job out of college, I worked for Cintas Corporation.
All right.
And so I was up in New Haven, Connecticut. I played baseball at Sacred Heart University, and I got hired right out of college. I went in there green, wet behind my ears, didn't really know anything about sales. I just knew I wanted to do something. See, I read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad in college. So I went to a personal development seminar. The guy in front of the room said, everybody needs to read this book if you haven't done so already. So bought the book, read it, and learned about the cash flow quadrant, And so Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad told him to work for Xerox, not for the money, for the training. Mm-hmm. And when he got out of the military. So he came in, he sucked, he got better, and then before you know it, he was really good. He said, if you can sell and you can network and you'll always find a way. And so anyway, I went to work there as a multi-billion-dollar company. They had a playbook, went in, did the playbook, did exactly what they said. And my first full month, I was #1 rep in the entire country.
Wow.
Out of 1,250 sales reps nationwide.
Wait, were you selling copiers?
sexy products like toilet paper,
Yeah.
air fresheners, and soaps. No, I didn't work for Xerox. That's Robert
Oh,
Kiyosaki.
yeah,
I worked for
sorry.
Cintas.
Cintas. That's
Yeah,
right, that's
Cintas,
right.
the uniform people.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay,
Yeah.
So I was knocking on every door, every store,
Hey,
and every
would you
floor.
like to buy this toilet paper
Yeah,
from
right.
me?
I mean, it wasn't
What was
COVID
the-
times
what-
back in
wait,
the day.
but what was the sales pitch when you're selling toilet
It's
paper?
office supply.
Well, first of all, like, and you guys own this office, you guys run this deal, but like, you know, it's a pain in the butt to go get the mats that people walking in dirt and rain and stuff. They got to wipe their feet on the front. They got toilet paper, air freshener, soaps in the bathroom. That stuff needs to be replenished. So there's a service that they offer. So that's what I would be selling.
Okay, cool.
It's just a convenience thing. And but I cut my teeth. I went out there. But here's the thing: like, before I became the #1 rep, I was about ready to quit. And the #1 sales guy that was there, he kind of took me under his wing. He made twice as much money as all of us, and he worked half the amount of hours.
Wow.
And so that was like a wake up. But I thought, oh, the company's just feeding him leads, you know, like, oh, he's been here longer, so therefore he gets all like the preferential treatment. But it wasn't the case at all. What I learned was he took care of people. Like he was, like the drivers that would drive around, like when they saw a sign that says under new management or coming soon, that was a perfect lead because the first one in the door usually gets the business. And so he would spiff them. He'd give them a $25, $50, you know, Outback Steakhouse gift card here and there or something like that. And he's like, Curtis, you know, you got to get to know these people for who they are, not just what they do.
Ooh, that's good.
And so that's when things kind of changed for me. And I was like, you know, I should probably get to, then I started earning referrals. I realized you get a lead by what you do. Go knock on doors, pound the phones. But you earn referrals and repeat business by who you are and how you show up in people's lives.
That's good.
And so when that happened, everything started changing for me. And then I realized it was really good. I could follow up with people. I was showing my appreciation and gratitude, and I was getting referrals, and people sent. And so that made my life a lot less stressful because I didn't have to go crazy to hit my number. I had people feeding me business. And then 2 years in, I ended up, you either move up or you move out. And at 24, they wanted to move me up into management, and it's not that much more pay for a lot more hassle.
Yeah.
So
What was the craziest appreciation thing you did? Actually, a buddy of ours, Aaron Luden, right, tells this story a lot about like these big companies like Zappos, where there was somebody in the hospital and like they wanted new shoes and they sent them like 30 pairs of shoes and like try this stuff on, and just like all different stories of how people were able to gain people's business through just doing like wild things, showing appreciation, expressing gratitude, learning what people like, and like, you know, just gifting little knickknacks, things that they would never expect. Was there anything like memorable that you did?
That we did or happened. So, I mean, one of the things that comes to mind is this one lady, she sent a gift for this lady's 40th birthday, and we checked the tracking number. For whatever reason, it was hung up a day or two. And we took ownership, even though it was the USPS. We got it out on time, and they flew. And anyway, we just went above and beyond and said, okay, tell me the name and the address of the people of where they're staying. They're going to New Orleans. And so we called the hotel. I went on Uber Eats and sent the whole bunch of like cannolis and like all kinds of like this big, huge platter. And I wasn't doing it to try to get something in return or post social media, but what ended up happening. And I didn't put it from us. I put it from her, who sent the brownies and the card and a nice little gift. And the lady went nuts. I mean, it was just one of those things that was unexpected. She didn't know anything was even coming. And then when that showed up at the hotel for her 40th birthday, and her husband was surprising her with other friends coming to town, so they had all of this stuff sitting in the room with a nice note card. I mean, that's one of them that comes to mind. But you know, there's so many different ways to show appreciation and gratitude. And one thing that I always say is that it's never too late to appreciate. So some people like, well, you know, it's kind of time has come and gone. Use the opportunity to do it anyway. And as far as like, there's a lot of different ways to share. Like obviously there's verbally, there's social media, there's text messages, emails, and like the expected thank you, it's expected, but yet the unexpected one carries more weight. So, I mean, here is when we're filming this podcast, it's Thanksgiving week right now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's kind of expected around this time, but I kind of almost live in this state year round and look for opportunities to acknowledge or celebrate or appreciate people and do it as like a habit. Like what I do when I do my trainings and teachings, I tell people to time block appreciation marketing. Carve out 30 minutes a week and carve it out. Then throughout the whole week leading up to that day, you're looking for opportunities to acknowledge or celebrate or appreciate.
We started to put it in a tracker. So on Monday mornings, we would track like, okay, where do we want to send our appreciation to this week? So throughout the week, we would literally start to track, the conversations that we're having with people. And then at the end of the week, start to send out the card.
And you happen to see in social media, somebody just had a grandbaby or somebody lost a loved one. Like those are opportunities because when you're making those types of deposits, they never forget you.
Well, it's IQ and EQ, right? So it's like that emotional intelligence, having the emotional intelligence to just take a step back and say, hey, let me make this person feel special, right? And so one of our colleagues got married not too long ago, and we sent them brownies in a card, and I took the wedding picture, and I put it on the card, and I sent them some brownies, and the message that I got was, nobody in the business community did what you did. And I didn't do anything crazy. I just took the Curtis Lewsey playbook that, is something you've done throughout the years, and done it. So that was awesome.
Well, it's on my mind. I would take it back. You mentioned Aaron Luden. He's like the master connector. I know you because of him. I know you because of him. And, Robert Palmer, who ended up hiring me, I met through Aaron. So when I moved to Orlando, like he's like the master appreciator. Like when I showed up at Peggy Brock's Keller Williams office in Altamont Springs, I cold called her, gave her a book. She loved the whole concept. She wanted me to speak at her next meeting, and she was about ready to bump Aaron out of it because it's like, oh, I already have a speaker, but I really want you to come in. And Aaron wouldn't have that, so Aaron came anyway. And I met him there, and thank God that I met him because then he said, let's go out. And when we met at Panera Bread, he opened up his Rolodex and just introduced me to everybody.
So what came first? Let's talk about the book. So you had the appreciation marketing book, but then you have AM cards. So was the book something developed and then the business was birthed out of the book, or what? How did that happen?
So here's what ended up happening. So when I was at Cintas, I was using a greeting card service. Okay, it was a multi-level network marketing company, and I got in and I went all in on that. And so I built an organization of 13,000 customers and distributors with my business partner. We traveled around the country, did a lot of speaking, and then the book came out because we just almost felt like it was needed. Like we're like this, we collected all these different notes of different stories and personal experiences. So we put the book together, and then things changed in the business and stuff. And then 2 years after I left that company, I was like, I'm going to hire a programmer, and I need to build up a service that is more business friendly. Because one of the things that I realized is that if it's not simple and it's not getting done. It needs to be simple. It needs to be easy. I put together some systems, and I wanted automation as well. So that's kind of what happened. So I had a background, and then I worked with did a lot of consulting, a lot of work with different companies on appreciation marketing. Then wrote the book, and then launched my own company.
That's awesome.
So now, one of the conversations we have offline a lot is, creating your own legacy, right? And, I say you're one of the biggest components of this. And I've seen you in your career take on other roles as far as like an employee roles in other companies, right? But you've always kept AM cards alive, right? Why did you always keep that dream alive? And why are you always saying, create your legacy? And even though, like, let's be honest, you're like, even though you're at home first, keep new rich, keep going, doing what you're doing. Why is that so important for you?
Well, so to back it up a little bit, so I had AM cards, and I was able to grow the company enough to pay the company bills, just not my own. And when my wife said she was pregnant, I needed to step up a little bit. And I was looking, but I wasn't really looking. So when Robert came into my life, Robert Palmer, the owner of LPT, he made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. Really, he's like, "Hey, can you work me for 1 day a week? I'd like to
the Godfather role. Sit down, Curtis."
He knew that I was good on stage. I could pitch in front of people and stuff like that. I needed like a pitch man in front of the room. So he's like, just 1 day a week. And then I was very transparent. So I took the job strategically, and he's very smart. So he sat down with me and asked me, "Curtis, what are some of your goals? What do you want to achieve?" I said, "Well, I invested all my money. I mean, I can afford a nice little house, but I can't show it on my taxes over the last couple of years. I need to prove that." I said, anybody that might be able to help me get a mortgage? And so he goes, let me go talk to my guys. So I went and sat down, and then he ran my numbers and said, this is what you need in order to purchase the house. And he threw a salary out on top of that, W-2, so I could qualify to get a mortgage from him and buy a house. So that was life changing. My wife was so excited, and we moved up here to Lake Mary from Hunters Creek, and and all that stuff. But it was strategic job. So when I sat with him, it literally in that office right over there, he said to me, he's like, Curtis, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. And then he offered me a full-time job, which I turned down, and then later reconsidered and came on board. But it was strategic because I asked him, I was like, hey, he gave me an Amex Black card and said, go to work. And so I went around the country. I sponsored all over the place. But it was strategic for me because I asked him, I was very transparent. I was like, hey, these people that I'm meeting around the country, the people that you're unlocking, because money will unlock a lot of doors.
Oh, yeah, big ones.
I met a lot of great people. And then what ended up happening was I was sending cards, sending my book, and I was building these relationships all over the place. And so when he pivoted a few years later and I resigned on great terms, I called up all these relationships that I built over 3 years, and boom, 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 we 10x'd our company in 2019.
But how did you not lose yourself, right? Because it's easy to lose especially like a company, like, oh, you recruited me to go work with you and travel the world, 48 states. But like, it's easy to lose yourself when you have a good thing and things. Cause like we had a good thing going, right? So how did you not lose yourself?
Well, because when I sat in that room, I asked him, I was like, what are your goals? I flipped the script on him and I said, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And this was before I took the full-time job. He's like, Curtis, he's like, I've built a financial wall around my family for not just one generation, for several generations. I'm good. He's like, I want to build something, and personally, I would love to take it public and bless the people around me. I said, whoa. And then I got the chills, and I said, I want to be part of that. And then I kind of had like FOMO. I was like,
look how that's coming to fruition today, right?
How he pivoted once again. It just kept, the end goal was still there. It was just the direction that he took a little bit different.
And it's still called LPT.
That's right.
Look at that.
That's right.
Now, being on the road, right? Like, I got this amazing experience, and thank you for recruiting me on that journey. But I always say that those years at LPT, they made me a man, right? Like 48 states in 1 year, traveling by yourself, trying to figure it out, whether it's where to eat or you're stuck. There's no flights. There's no Ubers. Like
your packages aren't coming.
Your packages aren't coming. Like anything that you could experience on the road, we experienced it. Any stories of on the road? Like, is there any hacking that you do, like on the road, like using your points, or any advice that you have? Because we talk a lot here about, like, it's the Fully Funded podcast. I like to call it Fully Loaded, but it's like fully funded to us means like fully funding your life and learning how to hack it, right? Like money doesn't open up all doors. Sometimes you could leverage. Yeah. So any ways that you leverage on the road?
Well, a few different things. Like, number one, like, had to get clear.
Yeah.
Like, TSA pre-check clear. That saved my ass many times.
I still don't have TSA pre-check.
Oh, my God.
You should have seen Orlando Airport on Monday morning at 6 a.m. It went past the food court.
Oh, yeah.
Line.
It was bad.
But I had clear.
Yeah, when you can just go ahead and go through, it's a lot different. That obviously was a big thing. But then also having your apps, like, handy as well. Like, one of the fastest ways for me, I used like an app called like hoteltonight.com or Hotel Tonight. So literally I wouldn't book the hotel until I was like in the city. I'll be like, okay, what hotel am I going to get to? Swipe. And I always trying to, because even though it wasn't my money, I felt like it was my money. Like I was spending every dollar as if it was my own. I was always looking at it like, because I know that somebody's watching.
Oh yeah,
and
I
know
call
he
Zach
does
all the
too,
time.
so.
Like, hey, bro, this is like $100. He's like, spend it, man. Okay, but.
No, but that's commendable. I like that.
It's the people that you want to surround yourself with like that. I mean, and as we're building my team here at AM Cards, we do the same thing. Like, there's a lot of people have credit cards, and that's just that. But like, I trust them. Like, I've given them a little bit. They've proven it over and over again. Some of the other things, let's see, on the road, I think another big thing was getting a national deal with a car rental place. You don't have to wait. Just like taking the time to fill out all the damn paperwork, which sucks. But once you get it done, literally you got the app, you got your code in there. You don't have to wait in line. Just walk right to your car and drive away.
That's awesome.
That's another little hack. Especially when you get into a city at 2 o'clock in the morning, flights are delayed, and you got to be up at 6, and it's like you got to take a nap, and you're out.
Yeah, it's tough.
A lot of stuff. But
I actually just tried Turo for the first time this week. So I actually am involved in a Turo business, and I flipped the script, and I was like, you know what? Let me actually rent through Turo
see how it
to
is.
See the experience, and it was amazing.
Wow.
Why?
It was
Why
awesome.
was it amazing?
Just the ease of being able to go on the app, get a car. Number one, like I was able to rent a 2023 BMW 4 Series coupe for like, I don't know, like $100 a day or something like that. And then you go on your Amex, and like the cheapest Hertz for like the economy car, that's like a Kia Soul or whatever it is, right, is like $150 or something. So it was way more premium of a car for considerably less. And, you know, everything is unlocked from the app. You know, I think it's cool because you interact with a host, right? So that host is messaging you the day before, like, hey, here's where you go. They're sending me like pictures like, hey, this is a shuttle that you want to take here. This is the step that you want to do when you get this. And it's like, hey, just check in. It's just like there's more certainty because I think like even like you see big Hertz, right? But like when you're in the airport, I don't know why it just feels it just feels very transactional where it's like, am I going the right thing? How am I going to do this? What car am I going to get? Is it going to have gas? Is it going to be washed? Is it going to be clean? Like, I don't know. For some reason, like renting a car just gives me anxiety. And with this, it was just very clean and simple. I returned it. And now I'm like, okay, whenever I go to Houston, like I know the guy I'm going to be renting cars from.
Nice. That's awesome. Curtis, in our huddle, we were talking about like things to do at the end of the year, right? And it's a weird time in our business, right? You talk about transactional, right? So it's a weird time in our business where it's like, am I saying Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas just because I want your business, right? Or am I showing up to the holiday party just to interact? Even sending a card right now, like what is the protocol? What would be your advice? You know, you're a marketing expert, right? You've opened a lot of doors with your marketing skills. What advice would you have for somebody in this season, right? And let's not talk about the rest of the year. In the last, you know, November, December, to set themselves up, whether it's from a marketing standpoint, appreciation standpoint, any advice or rollout that you would do?
Yeah, how do you cut through the clutter when everybody's getting blasted with a card, or at least it seems
in a noisy world, how do I stand out?
First of all, I tell the people, like, if you haven't got out Thanksgiving cards by now, then I'd say skip holidays and do New Year.
Wait, not even Christmas cards?
Yeah, everybody gets bombarded.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, I do Christmas, but there's also like immediate fit. But when it comes to like business acquaintances and stuff like that, like I almost like I'll get rid of that and just do the second week of January. Do like an inspirational message.
I was about to say, what would your message be?
I like that.
Hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Everybody's taking down the decorations. Everybody's doing all that kind of stuff. And then here they get a card from you, and people making New Year's resolutions, put a nice little quote in there or something about, you know.
That's a good idea.
I like that. And like, so Thanksgiving is time to be gratitude. But here's another thing is like, don't just try to be grateful in this season. Like plan out 2024 as a part of your daily and weekly things. Like I would say it would be able to say, oh, I would love to send cards. Cards isn't the only way. It's just one of the most effective because it's more emotional when it's physical. You know, because digital, that gets deleted. You know, we say be remembered, not deleted.
Ooh.
And these cards, they get saved, they get remembered. You go top of the mind, and it's powerful.
I got a little in my filing cabinet at home. I'm sure I have at least 3 of the cards. I can remember each one. I remember the New Year's one. I remember when you sent me with my pastor's picture in it. When I bought my house, you sent me the one with my house.
I remember when you sent me $10,000.
I got $10,000 too.
Did.
I got $10,000.
That's a fun gift to send.
Oh yeah, it's on my desk. I keep my $10,000 on my desk.
Is that a stock gift?
In my system, it is not everybody else. So here's a funny story about that. My wife hates that gift, and
what was it for again? Why did you send it?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
It was like might have been like a New Year's.
I use it for prospecting. So like, let's say a car dealership. You know, they're always talking about numbers, all that kind of stuff. So like, what I'll do is I'll send it to them and say, leave this on your desk, remind you of the fortunes and the follow up, or bring this to your next sales meeting and remind everybody that how much money they're leaving on the table.
Do you have any cases at the office?
I have some, yeah.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, it's expensive to buy fake money. But Black Friday this week, it's called moviepropmoney.com. Movie Prop Money. But believe it or not, my wife just sent me a link. You ever heard of a Chinese like place called Shen?
I think his shirt is from there.
Okay.
I'm wearing a shirt from Shein right now.
Yeah, awesome.
Y'all think I'm bougie, but I'm wearing an $8 shirt right now.
That's awesome, bro.
And they have it?
They have it, bro, and it's like...
How much did you buy?
Well, why?
Hey, Gabby, I need you to
I bought
write...
$5 million before. So.
Really?
Why didn't she like the gift?
I need you to write down, I need this.
Why?
Why didn't she like it?
Here's why. Is because when you gift it to somebody and kids get their hands on it, I mean, if they go try to spend it, it's a felony, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so,
it looks
like,
real deal.
and it says it looks real. And on the top, though, if you don't really look, it says movie prop money for motion picture use only. That's what it says on the bills. So clearly, but when it gets in the hands of kids, like I had a friend of mine that their kid took it and brought it to school, and had it just like casually fall out of his bag, just like, and then goes and picks it up
Curtis,
slowly.
if I drop a case off, will you guys execute on something?
We can make
You'll make it happen.
So it's in my system as a gift. I can assign it to your account.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah, we'll make that work.
That.
But that's a really cool.
That's
fun
actually
gift.
one that
It
we
opens
should
up
do.
doors.
It'll stand out for the new year.
Totally.
And I'm talking about, I still because I'm a big person. Like I believe in manifestation, right? And manifesting things. So I literally keep it where I have like these hands where I keep my wallet and my keys. So when I go out the door, I just grab it from there. My money's sitting right there because I want it to be where like I could take 10,000 a day if I want to, and that's a part of my daily.
I used it for
money.
the money machine. I'm pretty sure that's where it went. The money gun we had.
Money gun,
nice.
That was that money.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I don't know where that money goes.
So talk about Aladdin, mutual friend of ours, and he, a business partner of mine.
Love Aladdin.
He was in this is a great story. So he was in California, and there's this dude that's like way out there, like foo craziness, like dude. And it's all about manifest. So Aladdin goes to his apartment, and he had like stacks of cash everywhere, on the toilet, in the kitchen, like everywhere you went, there was stacks of cash, right? And so Aladdin's like, didn't know it was fake. Bro, what's up with cash all over your house? Like, I mean, people are coming in and out. He goes, oh, no, that's fake. I'm just manifesting. I'm bringing it into my reality. 3 years later, dude was a multi-millionaire.
That's
and something crazy happened in his life. In like he grew some business, sold it, or did something, but he had millions and millions of dollars.
Is there anything you're manifesting right now?
Oh, I have lots.
Give me one. Give me one. Give me a big one. Because you're a big dreamer.
Yeah, so I'm really, really pumped. So when COVID hit, we were no longer on stages, and 99% of our business came. So Aladdin, being that he owns a couple car dealerships, we came up with the idea, why don't we break into the automotive space? So we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in a couple of years to be able to integrate on the back end, so then that way when a finance manager marks a deal sold, it automatically triggers a 5-year campaign, right? So we're now starting to get some traction. The largest dealership in the country, or largest dealer group, is called Lithia Motors Inc. They had about $14 billion last year. They have 321 dealerships. Wow. And funny stories, I was on stage speaking at a Keller Williams event in Michigan in 2019, signed up a guy who then somehow, some way found out that we were doing dealer cards. I spun off a separate company called dealercards.com, and specifically for the automotive space. He's like, I'm a finance director. I see what you're doing. Let me connect you with my manager. So I did that. Lithia store pushed me to corporate. I got an approved vendor relationship now, and next week's probably the biggest meeting that I've ever had, that I'm ever going to have since my business journey. So the cool things that we're doing right now is we're unlocking this, and these are big accounts. I mean, very large accounts. So I'm manifesting 2,000 dealerships nationwide over the course of the next 3 to 5 years.
That's beautiful. Sick. Now, I think, especially like our generation, right? Like a little younger generation, it's hard for us to see 5-10 years ahead, right? And I think that's one thing you're always looking at, like 5-10 years ahead. How do you, because, so much things happening. We live in such a fast world. And I don't know if it's my age now, right? I just had a birthday, and now I'm starting to look at things just a little bit further ahead. How do you plan ahead in your life and business?
Well, I used to... So when I was 21, my brother was 23, and he passed away in a dirt bike, right? And my dad said at his funeral, he said that Silas lived more life in his 23 years than most do in a normal lifetime. And it hit me, and that's part of the reason why I started the Now Watch. Like time is now. There's now and there's later. Later's not a promise.
That's good.
So showing up today is most important, because later is not a promise. However, I think it also is important to look at the future and try to plan some steps ahead. Like one of the things is, yes, I'm a visionary, but I also like to connect the dots. So if you're not the one that likes to connect the dots, surround yourself with some people that know how to connect those dots if you're the big picture visionary. And so, I mean, yeah, I have actually bought a domain name probably 15 years ago called Purpose Driven Legacy. And so there's going to be a book probably quite a few years out. But what I'm doing right now is going to be building out the cash cow to build my purpose-driven legacy. Now I have that whole business plan I've been working on since 2012, but I want to fully fund it. And the biggest thing
Fully
is going to be
funded.
go figure. Yeah, I
fully
didn't
funded.
that
And
was
do you know I have an Instagram handle called Purpose Driven Life? It's a secret page
way.
that's not secret anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's called Purpose
I
Driven
forgot
Life.
about that one.
Where
I've had it for
because
years.
I haven't posted a lot on it, but I used to post like my travels. I used to
Cars,
post like
like-
cars, watches, like things I like. My face is not on it, but it's just like kind of like a board for me to post like the things that I enjoy. I'm actually gonna start. I think I'll start posting on it again. But yeah, Purpose Driven Life.
one of the things that, and I'll give you a piece of the puzzle. I won't tell you the for-profit business that's going to fund it, but it's a nonprofit that's going to impact over 1 million kids' lives a year. And so, and I have the plan that's going to have it. It's going to be the for-profit business going to fund the nonprofit business. But see, when I was 12 years old, my parents were going through a divorce, and I beat my gym teacher in a game of horse playing basketball. And he's like, "Hey, Chris, you ever thought about going to basketball camp?" I didn't know it cost money. I thought it was free, you know. And so it was in Brant Lake in upstate New York. A guy by the name of Tony Kubek ran the camp. He played for Shenendehowa High School, then went to Duke University, played 4 years. He was the only player to go to 4 consecutive Final Fours. This is back in the early 90s, Bobby Hurley and stuff like that. So he was the one that ran the camp. So I was like, I'd love to go. He gave me this little flyer. And I look at it, and I was deflated when I was on the bus on the way home because it was like $275 for the week. It was a sleepaway camp up in the mountains, in the Adirondack Mountains. And so I'm on that bus, and I'm like, oh, so I never took it out of my book bag. I mean, my parents, it was $20. It was a lot. So I'm not going to like – so I go back to gym class. And he asked me if I would like to go if he got a sponsor. And he explained to me what a sponsor was. And so he already talked to my parents and asked if I wanted to go, would they take me? And, of course, it was a yes. So at that camp was pivotal because I'm sitting on the side and I'm watching these kids. The high schoolers are playing against the counselors. And I'm watching, and then they grab the mic before, and they're talking to us. Remember if you remember back when you're like 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, you know, and you look up to a 17, 18-year-old, and you think it's like, whoa, they're huge, like their muscles are strong, like you look up to them like they're gods, right? And they're the ones grabbing the mic, and they're saying, you know, guys, how many here want to play Division I basketball or Division I sports? And my hand went up. Baseball was my thing, but I love basketball. And so he was like, you know, you got to practice with intensity, you know, stay away from drugs, you know, this and that. And like the way that they said it, it wasn't a parent, it wasn't a coach, it wasn't a teacher. It was different. It landed different. So I have this whole thought of having high school juniors and seniors apply to be a part of this program, go away for the summer and learn how to facilitate in middle school students, where I think is the most influential
100%.
when they're going through, like about, you know, the bullying and all this different stuff. And if they go in and facilitate, hey, watch this TikTok or watch this YouTube short, watch this and that, and then discuss it, how that could transform lives in those areas. And I want to pay the high school juniors and seniors for doing it and teach them financial responsibility. So those 11, 12-year-olds 5 years from now, they want to be the person that's giving back.
That's amazing.
And so I have this whole, like, that's my purpose-driven legacy, but I have a for-profit business that's going to fund that, and it's community-driven business.
Love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've had a look again.
No, I was just saying, talking about like financial literacy and, you know, education and a couple words that have just popped out during it. You know, one thing I'm always curious about entrepreneurs and ones that come from different walks of life is their ability to delay gratification. So I learned some things about you the last time I got to come to your office that I think a lot of people didn't know. And truth be told, we've kind of been like out of touch. We used to spend some intimate time together. Remember, you used to come to the office and we used to sit down and you kind of coach me and we would talk and stuff like that. But like, I just thought you're kind of like out here doing the AM cards, and I didn't realize that you're building this whole empire, right? So this man owns like a whole block of commercial real estate. He tells me, you know, I own this whole building, and this building is like buildings, and you're building other ones. So like, you know, you're talking about creating this legacy and everything. How are you delaying gratification in certain areas of your life of maybe these things that you want? You've been around a lot of successful people. You've experienced success yourself. You know, how are you keeping kind of the end prize in mind and, you know, not splurging on the, you know, the unnecessary things in life and stuff?
You know, I think that I definitely married the right woman. Like, I mean, she's really kind of helped me. Like, you know, because when we first met, you know, I was a little bit more on the flashier side and stuff. And then she's like, who are you trying to impress? And what are your goals? What do you want? I mean, I've driven, you know, paid off cars for many years. I splurged and bought her a new Lexus here recently, and I was happy and excited to be able to do that. But like I came from network marketing background, like in my late teens, early 20s. Everything was flash. Everything was like spend more than you got to show that you got it, you know, and everything like that. And then I kind of grew out of that a little bit, and I feel like, you know, the Alex Hormozis that we follow of the world and stuff like that, and he talks a lot about delayed gratification and stuff, and I think that that's great. I mean, if people that want to, that's too. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I follow Grant Cardone. If I saw him, I'd give him big high fives. I like that. I feel like living an and life. You know, you don't want to say, "Well, I wanted that Lamborghini," or donate to my church, or you know, tithe to my church, or give to this charity. It's like no, don't set yourself short. Like, grow the business that's going to be able to provide you an and life. Go to Mexico and do this.
Yeah, that's good.
Fix my car because it needs to be fixed, and still donate some turkey for Thanksgiving for underprivileged families.
So it's not necessarily that you're against people
Not at all.
living. It's just a matter of what's important to you.
Doing it right.
Absolutely.
But
And, you know,
but when you are building certain things, I think there is a lesson to be like, you know, my first property, I made sure I saved $100,000 before I bought my first property, because that was a delay gratification show that I could do something, then there was a reward on the other end. But, you know, if you're looking to buy commercial real estate or do things, like there are sacrifices and things that you do need to make.
They're absolutely 100%. Yeah, and you know, obviously you guys know, being in the business, like that, the income ratio is pretty important.
Oh.
And so I was looking to make sure I cleared up a lot of things and also saved and was able to get that down payment. But like, I mean, I manifested those buildings, by the way. It was like crazy, because back in the day, we were hand stuffing cards for 4.5 years because I wouldn't skimp on the quality of the card. We couldn't find a machine that would insert it because it would mess up 1 out of 4. So we hand inserted 4.5 years, hundreds of thousands of cards. And I was like, imagine like if I was across from maybe an assisted living home. Maybe I could have like a whole bunch of like people that would love to come on over and like, you know, and just interact, and you know, instead of playing bingo, maybe they're coming over and helping me with cards.
Is that what happened?
Dude, I swear to God, I put this out there. I was like, well, maybe we could do this, and it would be nice to be like close to a post office. Go figure. Middle Street, Lake Mary, post office. I could throw a baseball to the assisted living homes across the street. Now we didn't end up going that route.
I was going to say, you have like old
boom.
grannies in your office stuffing cards.
No,
crazy.
we don't.
Well, guys,
but we would if we had to.
We got to wrap up, but I want to ask one last question, and then we'll wrap it up. If I want to implement, you know, for our listeners, our community listening right now, if I want to implement appreciation marketing into my business for the next year, what is the best way to start?
Well, I mean, putting together an appreciation marketing strategy is a lot of things that you guys can do. If you're not right now sending cards, I would highly recommend doing it, whether it's Walmart, Walgreens, or go to amcards.com and set up a free account. And, you know, you can set up a free account, go take a look, and send a card for free, even on me, to do that. But I would take that appreciation marketing, the time block. I would say carve out 30 minutes per week and just say, this is what I'm doing. And then 1 week, you're looking for opportunities to acknowledge people or sell. Maybe somebody ran a marathon. They raised a bunch of money for a cause that they're near and dear to their heart. That's a lot of work that goes into that, you know? You know, getting yourself under 200 pounds, that's a lot of work, bro. Like, when you post that day, I finally did it, you bet you believe I'm going to screenshot that picture on Instagram, and I'm going to send you a card and say congratulations.
Let's go.
And you won't throw it away.
No.
You know? So those are the little things that mean a lot.
Appreciate that, Curtis. Want to wrap us up?
Absolutely, guys. So thank you so much, Curtis. What an amazing show today. Learned so much. Guys, this is the Fully Funded Podcast. Subscribe on all major platforms. Go ahead and leave us a review if you like what you're hearing. Give us some suggestions on what you'd like to see in our future episodes. Guys, thanks so much again for tuning in. Fully Funded Podcast. We're out. Peace.
Let's go.